to Complexity Made Simple, and welcome to video 6 in this series about design for flow. And what we're going to talk about in this video is actually achieving new systems. You know, if you think about what you're doing, a lot of what you're going to do is to maybe leave your MRP system behind, that type of thing, go to using stock as a signal to replenish both incoming materials and manufactured materials. These are big transformations. Now, what we don't want you to do is to decide, I know what we'll do, we'll change the whole factory in one weekend, find out that you've got some of the rules wrong, and then you just fall into disaster. And then lean just becomes that thing that we did that just made a whole mess of things. So let's just remind ourselves where we are again. Make to stock. Make to stock is where we are. In other words, we are talking about your runner items. You're talking about your runners. So how should you start to transform your systems? Now, what we're going to do effectively is, if you think about your MRP system, you use your MRP system for two things. You use it for material replenishment. So the planners are looking at demand and deciding to buy. But you also use it for production planning. Now, what material replenishment is, and what the MRP system is very good at, is this. You have an item. Let's say it's a car. I'm going to say it's a Nissan Micra. I'm not even sure if Nissan make Micras anymore. But maybe in the Nissan Micra is 12,000 components, and what you're predicting is that next year you're going to make, let's say, 100,000 of these things. Now, obviously, great thing, the computer's got all the information. It knows all the parts. It knows how many of all the nuts and bolts we've got, and how many wheels are on it, and the windows, and all sorts of things. Now, what the MRP system does is explode that to the supply chain. And so we're saying we need 100,000, and out goes information to supply chain after supply chain, not just 5 of them, but probably a lot more than that. Now, your MRP system is brilliant at doing that. That's what you should use it for. What we're going to replace in design for flow, though, is this thing right here. This is the difference between McDonald's planning how many cows do they need in a year to have enough mincemeat to make all their burgers. It does this, and it does it brilliantly. But what McDonald's don't do is to say, on Wednesday morning at 10:35, we're going to make 14 cheeseburgers because we're predicting that's what's going to be needed. They don't use the MRP system for planning day-to-day production. We're going to use stock to do that because we're in the make to stock system. When stock gets consumed, we will replace it. That's the system that we're going to use. But the way that we do it isn't to do the whole system all at once. What you're going to do is a pilot to prove. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick maybe one product. If you think it makes more sense, one product family. Probably you've looked at the demand, and the demand makes sense. It's got some stability about it. So you have some confidence when you work out your tack time. Obviously what you're going to do, by the way, is feed that takt time down your supply chains as well, by the way, because it's based on this thing here. So the takt time is going to get fed down the supply chain. But you've picked one product. There's something stable about it. There's less of a risk. Then what you're going to do is you are going to make to stock. You are going to use stock as a tool. You are going to use takt time to set up any kind of production system, and you are going to make sure that you produce at the pull of the customer in pursuit of perfection. When you do the pilot to prove, there will be mistakes. You are going to come up with standard work. Rules about the max, the min, and the batch size. Maybe you're going to set up a production line with a line balance as part of all of this. You will make mistakes when you do this. So we want to do a pilot. Use the pilot to tease out the mistakes. Use the pilot to get the standard work correct. So you're going to optimize your standard work, optimize your calculations and your decision making, optimize the signals from the make to stock system and things like that. Once you've got everything optimized and you've done a pilot to prove, then you can start the rollout. But if you roll it out as one big bang to the whole factory, all the mistakes that you're going to make are just going to go through the whole system. It's going to be a rip-roaring disaster. So pick the correct item, a stable item, something that you know you can test the methodology on, etc., and it's less of a risk when you're doing this. Use it as a pilot to prove. Once you're happy, then start to roll it out to other products. But again, the rollout, don't want a big bang rollout. You want to start to roll it out to other product families, etc., till eventually all of your runner product, which is probably 80% of what you do, is then with the new system. And if you do that, you'll make a complete success of it. By the way, one of the things about the pilot to prove is the permission to experiment. That's what you're giving people to do. Remember, your current system doesn't work. Your on-time delivery is terrible. You keep running out of things. You keep changing the plan. You must give people permission to change this crap. So you have to give them chance to experiment. This is permission to experiment. Permission to make a few mistakes. And then once you've got it right, you can roll it out, and then you can make more money.